The whole project went back to an assessment I had the honor to participate in, which was done between 2003 and 2009 and called the International Assessment of Agricultural Knowledge, Science and Technology for Development. In German, we called it the Weltagrarbericht, and it was an initiative by the United Nations and the World Bank, who invited more than 500 scientists from nearly 90 countries of the world, asking what do we know about the global agriculture over the past 50 years and what do we expect it to be in the next 50 years. And I had the honor to be um, part of the board of this, representing North American and European NGOs. Sorry, I have a okay. And after 6 years, actually, the scientists came up with a thick report, 2,500 pages, full of assessment recommendations and so on and so forth, about the key questions of agriculture and food. And certainly the key question is, how come there are still 700 million people undernourished, going hungry, and how come this number is going up again now since 7 years? You can see here the prevalence of hunger in different countries of the world, and also how how hunger is distributed amongst the people. It's a shame, and it hasn't changed since more than 50 years. It's about 8% of humanity going hungry, the majority of them in the countryside, many of them small farmers, about 60% women. And at the same time, we have about 3 billion of the 8 billion people on this planet being overweight and 1 billion being obese, which is heavily overweight to an extent that you could expect health consequences from it. Here you see again a picture of the prevalence of overweight and obesity, and also of these 2.8 billion people, 2 billion suffer from what is called hidden hunger, which is a deficiency in micronutrients, even if they may have more calories, eat more calories than is good for them. Their body may be hungry for vitamins, minerals, and so on and so forth. And the question is this because we do not produce enough in agriculture? And the answer is clearly no. This is the picture of how we use today the, um, the cereal yield of the world. Only 42% of that is used to feed people, 36% is used to feed animals, and 22% is used to feed, be it cars, be it power generation, and so on and so forth. So actually, as the FAO, the World Food and Agriculture Organization, says, with the calories we produce today, we could feed about 12 billion people. We're only 8 point something. We could feed 1.5 time the population there is on this planet Earth. And I think this is one of our most important messages in the whole concept of the global field. There is more than enough for everyone. And the real problem with agriculture is its unsustainable overproduction, and not that we are not producing enough. Um, when we look at the global situation today, in order to have 2,000 calories on a plate, we at this moment have to produce about 4,600 kilocalories on the field. Big losses are harvest losses, are the conversion of plant to animal calories, and all the losses that are in the course of the production, of the distribution, and finally what the end consumers are throwing away. And the other big challenge that we discussed at this IASCD, of course, was what will climate change do to agriculture and what does agriculture do to climate change? And here you see a map which predicts all those areas which are red will have a loss, will have probably even a significant loss of yield due to the climate change with the methods of today of agricultural production. This is not to say that we cannot adapt to it, but if we continue business as usual, then this will be the picture. And at the same time, what you see here is the International Panel on Climate Change's estimate of the sources. Where do the climate gases come from? And you can see that they allocate about 14% directly to farming, and that is just the emissions from the field. The diesel that is emitted, the lachgas, what is it? Um,
Methane.
N3H, no, no, not methane, but the stuff that goes out because of mineral fertilization. That, but not the next big slice, which is 18% land use, which is basically due to agricultural acquisition of forests, right? And then if you, oops, sorry, so sorry. If you allocate the cooling, the transport, the heating, the production of the tractors, all these kind of additional aspects in the different areas of transport industry, also of waste, you will end up with realizing that about 40% of our climate gas emissions at the moment are due to the way we produce our food and we consume our food. And we will have to, and this is the big challenge that the IASCD clearly announced, we have to reduce this by 80% over the course of this generation. This is the biggest challenge, I think, for agriculture worldwide, no matter what state we are in. There are a few key messages of this IASTD I would like to quickly go through, and that is number one, there are no silver bullets. Don't trust anybody who has what we call in German Patentrezepte, silver bullets, simple solutions, one technology that solves the problem. No, that's not the way we can address the problems, and it strongly advises us to start with looking at the problem and not with looking at the solution, which means not looking for problems that can be solved with a certain technology, but looking for the best available technology for the problems there are. And this is usually the progress or so-called progress in agricultural practices and sciences is exactly the other way around, technology-driven and not problem-oriented. And then the IASTD clearly said that agriculture is more than yield production. I'll come to that in a second. And it, for the first time, clearly announced that it will be the small farmers who will drive a sustainable transition of agriculture if that can happen at all, which was clearly against all the conventional wisdom of agricultural science so far that always said the bigger, the more efficient, the better the technology. This is the way forward, bigger units. No, the IASTD clearly said it will be the small units that make the difference, and it very clearly said it will be the women who will make the difference, especially in Asia and in Africa, where they already command most of the small farming entities. It also said that hunger can only be overcome locally and not by shipping materials from one place to the other, which was also a break with the conventional wisdom of saying global trade in agricultural goods will solve our problems. And it said we don't need a little more environmental protection. What we actually need is, they called it for the first time, an agroecological revolution. And this is, I think, a strong message that hasn't been taken up by all those who stand behind this IASTD so far. But it is one of the main messages also that we in our global field initiative try to convey to younger people. And finally, for the first time, the IASTD said it's not enough to talk about food security, making everybody, giving everybody enough calories. But what is really needed is food sovereignty. And they defined food sovereignty as the right of people and sovereign states to democratically determine their own agricultural and food policies. And this is what this global field initiative is all about. When we stand in a supermarket and ask ourselves, what about our sovereignty? How much can we really decide? When small farmers who are indebted stand on their field and ask themselves, how much can I really decide? Then this is the starting point of our 2,000 square meter initiative. Here is a picture that the IASTD gave about how food production is determining economy, the environment, and society and culture. And I think this is also one of our roots, that we believe that food production is at the core of much, much more than just health and agricultural production. And the IASTD put next to this modern type of picture, oops, sorry, a picture of the Andean cosmovision around Mamapacha farmland plots, which can only thrive if the communities of the humans, the communities of nature, and the communities, they call it, of gods and deities, we may call it of science and beliefs, are in a balance that needs to be constantly newly negotiated and rebalanced, must be in a constant exchange. And I think this farm plot picture is also something that we are aiming at with our fields. Finally, the IASTD gave us a seven steps to heaven-like perspective of how to go about, and I won't go into the details, but it says our conventional productivist system, which is completely unsustainable, needs to convert into sustainable systems, agroecological systems, and there are steps to go with the low input systems of small farmers, with indigenous and traditional knowledge and systems in transition, such as organic farming. And we will come to an agroecological system that is not only way more sustainable, but even more productive than our present agriculture. Oops. And the other root of our initiative I would want to quickly dwell on is this picture that was published in Nature also in 2009 by a bunch of scientists who said there are planetary boundaries we should respect. And they're talking about these major challenges like climate change, ocean acidification, the nitrogen and phosphorus cycle, the change of land use, the loss of biodiversity and so on, where they say if we don't stay within what they call a safe operating space, we will shift the global system over tipping points from where there is no way back. And this is the green space is what they believe the planet can endure, and this is where they believe we were in 2009 in overexploiting certain systems. And this has been further developed. I don't want to go into all these details, but today we have this picture. And what is important about this picture is, and this has been published only a couple of weeks ago, actually, that everywhere where you see the dots, this is the contribution of food and agriculture to the overexploitation of our planet. It has been published in a second so-called Eat Lancet report, which tries to establish something called a planetary health diet, a diet that is healthy for people and for the planet. And we'll hear from Saya more about that in a minute. So I don't want to preempt this. The concept of our 2000 square meters now is how do we convey all these big picture and these huge figures to ordinary people? How can we how can we feel about this? And the simple equation we did was when you look at the planet, there are about 11% of the land mass dedicated to arable land, and another 1% to permanent cultures. There are also quite a bit of pastures and meadows. There are forests, and there is all other non-productive land. And when you look at this and know that these 11 plus this one, these 12% are roughly 1.6 billion hectares. And we are presently 8 billion people. And if you know that a hectare has 10,000 square meter, then you realize that for each of us, there are 2,000 square meters of arable cropland available on this planet. There are also 4,400 of meadows, half a hectare of forest, and even a little more for all the other things, deserts, highways, all the non-exploitable land. And these 2,000 square meters, this is something we can relate to actually, I think. And we are planting now on these 2,000 square meters to scale what the global agriculture uses the 1.6 billion hectares for. A lot of wheat, a lot of maize, a lot of rice, other cereals. More or less, more than half of the area is dedicated to that. And you see soybean, oil, fruit, cotton, pulses, root crops. Interesting, only 4% for vegetables and also only 4% for um, um, Obst, fruits. Um, and this is what we are planting. You can see here the Weltacker in Berlin in autumn. And this is look how it looks in full bloom. And we try to explain and tell stories about the world agriculture on these fields. And with the stories, I won't go into details. I'll just skip over them, right? It's about the climate impact and the release of CO2 as well as the use of CO2 by soil, the water questions. Then, yeah, we show how it is distributed. We ask ourselves how much could grow on this land, and it's clear that on 2,000 square meters you can grow more food than you could ever eat in 1 year. And it is an interesting exercise to imagine what are we actually eating over 1 year. Quite a bit, actually. And we also have established a little extra thing, and we will hear about this as well in a minute, where we try to explain how much square meter a particular dish would take. So how many square meters would we have for lunch? And we have a little app for that as well. Oops, sorry. We go through this food waste I've been talking about. We also show that you could feed two pigs from 2,000 square meters. If you imagine you had to live just from two pigs for a whole year, you will understand that converting plant calories in animal calories must be restricted. And our advice is it should basically be on the meadows and the pastures and not on the arable land. Sorry, I'm really sorry. And then we show that if you used all your 2,000 square meters to for diesel production, you could roughly drive 3,500 kilometers per year, and nothing would be left to eat. We also ask why Europe, the European Union, actually imports an additional 1,000 square meters per person from other places of the world. And the simple answer is because we can afford it, probably. Sorry, do you still see the thing? Okay. And then we ask a lot of questions of how much energy, how much toxic substances do we put into the land with different agricultural methods. And we are talking about the diversity, the billions and billions of smaller and bigger animals that we have to share these 2,000 square meter with in order to make sure that the 2,000 square meters can actually feed us. And we look underground in many different ways. And we take the microscope. We also take a stethoscope so we can hear actually the microorganisms in the soil. And we talk a lot about the microbiome that we all share, the trillions of organisms, of microorganisms that that connect all of us, that connect our stomach with not only the stomach of the cow, but also with the soil, and give us and eventually also children a better feeling for what it means to be part of nature. And wait a minute. Yeah, and we ask ourselves, how would a diet of the future on our 2,000 square meters look like? And we'll hear about that in a minute. There are many fields now. Here are pictures from our field in Berlin, and also from exchange we had, especially with seed savers in Kenya. Mercy will be talking about this in a minute. We have special initiatives here. It's the Global Bean Project, exchange of different bean cultures. Uh, we have global fields all over the world, also in Shanghai, as you can see here, in Brazil, and then we have a new cooperation with friends in Andhra Pradesh who want to establish actually 7 different types of global fields, and whom we have visited now for 2 times, and who contribute an aspect to the whole initiative that is very exciting for us. And that is that half an acre, 2,000 square meters are roughly half an acre, is about the size of the field that can make a decent livelihood for a family in Andhra Pradesh in India, feed all of them, and even provide them with the necessary cash. There is a concept of ATM, an anytime money garden, which provides the family every morning with something they could take to the market in the village, and it is a really mind-blowing concept of intercropping. Usually, no less than 15 to 20 different plants are being planted on the same plot, harvested, maintained continuously. The soil is fed, and so on and so forth. It has been really impressive. And we are very proud that they will be coming in February for a tour through Europe and explain a little more about their concept of natural farming and how 2,000 square meters are actually a good fundament for a decent and healthy livelihood in India. Here you can see our last meeting. In Innsbruck, we are growing. This is the community. We were about 70 altogether who met, and next time we will be even more. We have now about 30 global fields in Europe, two in Latin America, two in Africa, one in China, uh, initiatives going on in India. Jasper can tell you more about it. It's a growing, it's a dynamic movement, and obviously there are many different stories that are told now on these global fields. It is not just one. But there are three major messages that all of us try to convey to the young people who come to the field. The first, as I mentioned, there is enough for all of us. There is no need to fear that we could not feed ourselves anymore and we needed new technologies for that. No, there is more than enough. And then something which especially many of us who live in cities and get their food from a supermarket uh, can really try to reinvigorate every mouthful of food, every bite I eat, right, comes from a unique place. And the way my food is grown actually shapes the health, the sustainability, the well-being of this place. There is always a connection between food and a place. And I think this is very important to give people an idea about that. And then, of course, that life is diversity. When we look at this huge diversity in the soil, in the different plants and animals and so on and so forth of our 2,000 square meters, and when we start understanding that we are but just one part of this diversity, we've understood a lot about what good food and good farming of the future really is. Here are some websites. You'll be provided with that anyway. Thank you for that, and so much about my introduction. Happy to answer any questions.
Now we go a little bit more in some practical questions because I know that there are many people here who are interested in building their own global field. So I want to go into the question, what do you need? What do we offer? And what do we expect if you want to become a global field? I will try to make it very short and very brief because I really, as I mentioned, it's a very individual question often, what you need especially. And therefore, I really recommend to reach out to us and have an individual appointment with us so we can discuss the details for your project. First, we want to start what we offer. Our network, as I already mentioned, we offer advice and support if you want to build up a global field. We are organizing online exchanges, especially till now, especially in the German language based, but more and more we have international exchange and global exchange. We are organizing a yearly international conference where we all meet and work together on new educational materials, work together on new topics, and try to progress our movement. Then you have the opportunity, if you are part of our network, to organize in working groups. For example, if you want to develop a new educational approach on the topic of water, what Benny just mentioned, then you can reach out to our network, and there will be almost certainly people who are interested in joining and developing that together with you. Of course, we connect to projects worldwide, and we organize joint projects and campaigns. Um, Furthermore, if you are a global field, you have access to all our materials, which were developed by a lot of global fields. Nowadays, there are, as Benny mentioned, almost 40 global fields, so there are a lot of educational modules and materials developed. First of all, we have these signs. They are now here as a picture in German, but we also have translations. And we will always support you with translations if you need support. Um, so you can see on our fields, there are these signs, there are the crops, and for each crop we have a sign to explain the story of this crop and on how much area in the global agriculture it is grown. We also have a lot of installations for education, like this waste installation or the petrol diesel installation here, to demonstrate, how much energy we can take from a global field. Then we have this fodder crop installation with the two pigs Benny mentioned. We can feed from 2,000 square meters. And we have a lot of graphics and designs you can use for your educational work. Um, and last, also we have a traveling exhibition. So if you are, for example, in Europe, you can contact us to borrow this exhibition. It is still only in English and German, but we are eager to develop it in other languages if you need it. And you can borrow it, you can show it, and even if you are outside the EU, you can contact us and you can get the files and print it yourself, but it might be cheaper than shipping it. So if you are interested in organizing an event, an exhibition, feel free to reach out. Furthermore, on our website, we have done some substantial research on each crop which is grown on our global field, and we have published a lot of articles about each of these crops. So you can put QR codes on your fields to give the audience a possibility to read more. And we will publish by the end of this year. This will be available in 6 languages already. So also maybe something you might be interested in. Then we have a cloud, a common cloud of all global fields, where each of the projects uploads all the knowledge they have and all the materials they have developed. As you can see on the screenshot, till now there is a lot of German words, but there's the first thing which is called translation. So we are working on uploading more content in English and other languages. As soon as you are a global field, you have access to this cloud and can use everything which is there. What we expect from global fields. If you are a global field, we expect that you identify with our guiding principle and our message. So the 3 key messages Benny mentioned are crucial, that you use these in your educational work. Then we really value organic farming practices. So on the global field, you should apply organic farming practices. In particular, you should avoid genetic engineering, pesticides, and artificial fertilizers. Whenever you want to start a global field, we ask you to consult with us, because it's always good if we have at least, if we can look at your concept, if we can discuss with you and if there are no global fields, which we don't know yet. So please always reach out to us. There's nothing we will put in your way. We will always be supportive. It's just nice for us to know about each initiative which is there. We also expect you to make references to the joint project, to our website, and of course, if you use the materials, to give Creative Commons rules, yeah, and yeah, don't sell everything we gave you to third parties, or don't give it without asking us. We also expect you, if you develop new educational materials, to share these with the network. This is the basic concept on our whole network. Everyone produces new materials and also will share it. So with each new project, the knowledge hub is getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, we ask you to send us something for our website, something for our PR work, so we can also share the news about your project. And whenever it's possible for you, we would love if you can participate in exchanges. That is not a must, but it is, of course, nice if you are available. So what you need, this is the big question which I cannot answer for each project now. I will give some small crucial points which are especially necessary in urban areas in Europe. It might be completely different if we talk about a rural farm in Uganda. But I think every project around the world needs for the start a dedicated startup initiative. So this is one crucial point, to have people who are really motivated to do this educational project, to build up a global field, and yeah, at least one person who is really motivated to put some time in that. When the project is running, you need someone to manage the project and to do the educational work. This can be one person. Of course, you can have additional people, but it depends on your project. And we definitely recommend to have a farmer or gardener who is professional, because if you really want to grow these 45 to 50 crops, we demonstrate on the field the most important 45 to 50 crops in the world. Um, this is not easy to do, and it is not a small project, and it is not yeah. So we really recommend to have a professional on board who can do the gardening. And for volunteers play a crucial role in almost all projects, because yeah, you cannot do it without a few people who support you, and so we recommend to look for volunteers. You need, of course, at least 2,000 square meters of cultivation area if you really want to do the representation of global agriculture as it is. Um, Additionally, there needs to be a little bit space for crop rotations, a little bit space for workshops, and also for path between the crops so people can go around. So normally I recommend to have at least 3,000 square meters. Again, this is based on the urban educational spaces in Europe. Um, and of course, you should take care that there's no toxic contamination in your soil, because if you build it in urban areas, in a park or something like that, then you need to test your soil probably. Um, your global field needs to be accessible, because people need to go there. If not, you don't have an audience for your education. And you might need irrigation, so you should look for a water source. And last but not least, but this is a very important point, before you start the project, think about who is your audience, who is your target group, and therefore decide where you might build it and which focus you might take. Just some examples, I will go quickly. We have global fields here in Berlin, for example, in a public park. Then we have in Nuremberg in Germany, there was an unpaved car park, a car park which has been changed to a global field, as you can see on these pictures. Um, often global fields are part of a farm, not only in Kenya, for example, or in other countries of the global south, also in Germany or Switzerland. So often farms or CSA, they have they want to do some education and they include a global field in their farm. Another example could be at the university or the college. For example, here in Austria, they built a global field as a circle, which is also a nice adaptation near to a college. And last but not least, of course, global fields can also be on private property. For example, here in Austria, there was a big company who had 2,000 square meters left and wanted to do some social projects there, and they asked around, and so there's now a global field. What else is needed? Of course, if you're in an urban area, you need some parking spaces for bicycles and/or cars. This is also, again, European urban city. Might not be the case, and depends on the target group, of course. If you're in a university and mainly do education for your students, you don't need to think about that. It is always recommendable to have a shadow for compost or also to make breaks in your workshops. Ideally, you have a roof, for example, a pavilion, just to go under it and have your workshop if it's raining, if there's too much sun. Yeah, you need tools, which exactly I don't want to go into these details. You can always ask me. And you need a shed to store your tools. If you have school classes, etc., you need access to toilets. Ideally, you have a greenhouse, especially if you want to show plants like rice, etc., in areas where rice doesn't grow normally. But this is not a must, it's just a recommendation. Also nice to have is electricity and Wi-Fi if you want to organize some workshops. The same with cooking facilities. If you want to offer cooking workshops, then that's nice. And of course, the optimal case is that you even have a venue, a room where you can do workshops in case of rain. Yeah, this is everything I want to show you today. As you can see, it is not a small project, the global field, as we do it here in Berlin at least. And yeah, take care to think about everything you need before you start. And but always ask us, and we will be happy to assist you with all our expertise we might have collected in the last years.
Okay, so hello, and yes, I'm happy to talk here a little bit about our global field in Osnabrück. Osnabrück is located in northwest of Germany, and we have a bit special approach to the global field thing because we work with Planetary Health Diet. And what I want to tell is, first I want to explain very shortly what Planetary Health Diet is, and then want to talk about what we do on our global field with the Planetary Health Diet and how we get these two concepts connected. And third, there will be time for questions. And so the first question we can start with is, what is the Planetary Health Diet? Jasper, can you do? Yeah, thank you. And it all started with the question. And the question was, can we feed about up to 10 billion people we might be in the world in 2050 in a healthy way and in a sustainable way without endangering the planet, without transgressing all the planetary boundaries Benny already mentioned. And a big commission, the Eat Lancet Commission of scientists from all over the world, they worked on it, and they launched the Planetary Health Diet concept in 2019 and just gave an update in October 2025, quite new. And there they integrated questions of food justice. So the approach now is that they want to give healthy and sustainable and just food systems to up to 10 billion people in the world. That's what they aim to do. It's the heart of the concept. There were three main areas addressed by Planetary Health Diet. The first, of course, is agriculture, and they want to change towards ways of sustainable land use. We don't have the time to go in it now, so I just want to mention it. The second one is food waste. They want to have a reduction of global food waste of about 50%. It's important to make Planetary Health Diet work. And the third part they address to is our eating habits. And I want to go a little further into that because that's what we work with mainly. And maybe some of you know this plate. It's how they show the concept, what we are recommended to eat. And it's the half of the plate, the half of everything we eat a day should be fruits and vegetables. It's the green part. There's a big yellow part with whole grains. Depending on wherever you live, it can be rice, it can be millet, it can be wheat, whatever. The small brown part is starchy vegetables, potatoes, manioc, cassava, whatever, wherever you live. And then it turns a bit interesting because the dairy foods and the animal source proteins, the blue and the red part, this has to is addressed to change a lot. Dairy foods means in Planetary Health Diet an amount of about 1 glass of milk or 2 slices of cheese, something like that. This will be healthy and sustainable. And animal source proteins, it means all together meat, eggs, and fish. And this is what most of us have to reduce quite a lot. And it's about 1 time a week eating meat, 1 time a week eating fish, and 1 or 2 eggs a week. And instead of all the animal products we mostly eat now, we have to do a shift to the green part, the plant source proteins. We have to increase our consumption of nuts and pulses. Can also be very different depending on which area you live in. But this is the main shift, the main thing we have to work on, and the main thing we work on in our educational work. And then the orange part, it's unsaturated plant oils. There's not so much change, I think. And the little white part is added sugar. It's also mostly to be reduced in the most diets we are used to. But in all this, they said they don't want to throw anything out. They don't want to forbid anything. We just have to talk about the amounts in the different food groups. And Jasper, can you turn the next, please? Thank you. They show this plate also as a chart. You can see all the numbers there. They give a certain recommendation in grams per day a person should eat of groups, food groups. And in the breaks, you can see there's a possible range. So you can have a variety. You can turn it a bit in the way you really like it yourself to have your individual approach. And they give a range how we can do this. And so now let's have a look on what we did in Osnabrück. We took all the food groups and counted it together for 1 year for all food one person might need when she or he eats along the Planetary Health Diet. And then we cultivate all these food groups on our global field to show how they look like, how much square meters they need. It's all produced by organic farming because we need a sustainable way of working. I hit something, I don't know. Okay, so can you? We took the average yields of organic farming in Germany for our calculation. And there we go out by 1,270 square meters to produce all the food for one person for 1 year in our global field. Just to show it as a model, how we can use our field. And each food group is demonstrated in a part of the field. Also the food for the animals, for dairy, eggs, and meat. We show it. And what we try to do for our educational work is to show a really wide variety of species in the field, to show how diverse the food can be according to Planetary Health Diet, to show how many different kinds of vegetables and legumes and grains and whatever we can have, and to show that it's much more than the supermarket offers. So it becomes more interesting to the people who visit our field and to try all what they probably don't know and haven't seen before. Maybe you can continue. The next is a map of our global field. Altogether, it's 3,000 square meters because we have the pathways and a space where people can meet and school classes can run. And the colored spaces, it's all where we have this different food groups. I'm sorry, it's in German. I didn't find a translation so far. But it's so the people can walk around also by themselves or on guided tours and have a look on all these areas and on all the varieties we try to show there. And I brought some photos also because when we have 1,270 square meters for the food, and the global field is about 2,000 square meters, there's still space left. And a little bit of it we use for fiber plants, then for things like coffee, tea, whatever, tobacco, and so. But there is still a lot of space left where we can grow just regional wild flowers to have all the insects and small animals live there. And we also integrate this in our educational work to show that there is still space needed for all not human livings. And what we also do, this is the last photo, we try to do some cooking events just to make it interesting and to show all the species we grow and how they taste, how they can be prepared and so on, just to make it easier to try new things and to get a bit inspiration for changing our eating habits.
Colleague Terian from Seed Savers, and we appreciate because to this far we, as a network, from the connection created from Beni with our team leader Daniel Wanjama, we have been able to create impact to the society since 2019 by so many communities in Kenya who are now practicing global fields, and we equate this to our Kenyan context, which is equal to half acre of land, and for Kenyan context also, half acre of land serves a household of our members ranging from 7 to 8. Yeah, so I will present some content, and my colleague Terian will also share a bit of the concept of global field and how we have been able to apply in Kenya. And then towards the end, we shall have a video of a practical work of the global field on one of our farmers' fields and how she has been able to do it and she's been able to feed her family. So as a network, right now we are reaching a membership of over 100,000 members within our network, and these members are farmer organizations, individual farmers who are now practicing the Weltacker concept. And in this, we put seed saving as a central gear, whereby this will enhance diversification. And when you have diversification being done in the farm fields, it helps us to have little or more work does not go into sourcing the inputs to ensure we have food to the tables. So for us to apply this concept of global field, we are anchored on 3 pillars. First, we do trainings, that is capacity building, and also we ensure we have a global diversity conservation within the farm holds. So when you take me to the next slide, we break it down in a way that within a half acre of a farmland in the rural areas, largely we work with women farmers in rural areas and also youth farmers. We try to ensure that these farmers or the uptakers of the concept have livestock and also have crops. And the animals and crops exist in a mutual way, whereby the livestock help us to get manure, and then still crops, we have the vegetables, the legumes. We also incorporate the fruit trees. We ensure that the fields are as diverse as possible. We rule out monocropping completely. We don't have monocropping being done in the farm fields, and we also encourage we have the kitchen gardens where we do like vertical gardens so that we utilize the space, because this half acre of land has to serve a household within a year, and we have to have continuous flow of food from one season to another. And you'll find that mostly in our tropic areas, we have two seasons. We have short rains and long rain seasons. So we have to organize the farm in such a way that at no point in time, there is no production. So there is lots of rotational cropping and there is lots of diversification taking place. And then now we have to ensure that a few birds or maybe cattle that is kept on the farmland should be existing in a mutual way to support crops, and the crops still can be able to support the animals, and still the household is able to get food. So also we have, we try to ensure that there is sorry, just take me back to this slide. We also try to ensure that family labor is done on the farm fields, because it's like 5 to 6 members. So that has to be done wholesomely by family members. And also seed saving, as I mentioned earlier, once we have a spot for saving seeds, this will just be taken from the farm store and we have to plant it in the fields. So from the third slide, I think my colleague Terian will take over to share with us, and then we shall have the video play at the end. Terian, carry on.
Thank you, Mercy. I hope I'm audible enough. You can confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, my name is Terian, and I also work for Seed Savers Network. So as Mercy was saying, the global fields are rich in diversity, and the diversity in the fields translates to a nutritional diversity at the household level. And this means that the households have a diverse range of crops which they can consume. And the diversity is attributed to what she was talking about, the seed saving, on-farm seed saving and community seed banking, as communities get to choose, or rather, the farmers get to choose what kind of seeds they want to save. And this means that for our farmers, they are food sovereign and both seed sovereign. And the lead farmers global fields, we act as demonstration gardens, or rather demonstration plots, whereby other farmers and youths or community members can come and learn about, or can come and see practically and hands-on on how to efficiently do crop diversification, soil conservation, and they're able to see how to optimize a small piece of land to be able to get a diversity and adequate produce. And the different global feeds that are established here in Kenya, the families or the farmers are able to sustain them. As we said, the surplus produce that is produced from this field is sold, and this income is used to cater for items that are not produced on the farm. And in addition to this, the few livestock that the farmers keep for manure, whatever, let's say if a farmer has cows, the milk is sold, and this is able to generate income. If it is like chicken, they're able to sell the eggs, and this is additional income to the household, and this helps in running the global field, but also in catering for other needs. Next slide, please. So as Marcy was saying, for different global fields that we have, sorry, apologies, for the different global fields here in Kenya, they use traditional knowledge in seed preservation. They use such as ash, wood ash that is, or bean pods, dried bean pods that are actually burnt, and then the ash is used in preserving seeds. They could use also tithonia. I don't even know tithonia, but tithonia sap. They could use cow dung ash, red brick dust. All these methods are used in preserving seeds. They also use traditional knowledge in making their biopesticides and making their liquid fertilizers and also organic fertilizers. And this ensures that the smallholder farmers or the farming households are able to produce foods in a safe way and sustainable way, as they are reducing the inputs that they would have been buying and incurring in the farm. And because the households are directly involved in production of the food, as Mercy said, the households they use labor from the households to sustain the farm. So we do not require mechanized tools for farming, because half an acre of land is a small piece of land here in Kenya. And they are able to use simple hand tools or even some motorized tools such as motorized weeders or even the planters to make their work easier. Yeah, next slide, please. So these are just our contacts if you would like to reach us.
Firstly, my name is Tom van den Busch, and I'm working in Luxembourg for the non-profit organization Natuur en Umwelt, which protects nature and environment. And we had a project this year, which was the buffet bed in Luxembourg. But firstly, I would like to start to show you just fast what our own field in Luxembourg. Here you can see we have at our house here a 2,000 square meter, a global field, which is a project that we have since 2019 with 2 other partners. And our global field is a bit different than the normal global field in general, because we try to represent Luxembourgish agriculture and not global agriculture. So we have a little bit more grassland and animal feed on our field than it as usual. So what was the idea? This year we had the chance that this year in Luxembourg there was the Luxembourg Urban Garden Show, the LUGA, which was organized around and in Luxembourg City. With this garden show, we also had workshops, and we had the chance to have an own exhibition where we could represent the global field in Luxembourg City. And that was the moment where we thought, okay, how can we do it? How can we take our 2,000 square meters and put it inside the city? And there the buffet beds were quite fast, the best idea that we had. So we went on to get 6 of these waste beds. As you can see, these are just steel waste beds with different sizes. So every waste bed had another size to represent another menu, actually. So we decided that on 6 menus, we calculated how much surface each ingredient of the menu would need, and then we also made some panels where the information about every waste bed was written, and that was actually the whole idea. It was to show in an easy and fast way how much surface one meal would use. So at the end, this was a bit how did it look. So we had the different raised beds. We planted every culture that we had in our panels, and then we named every culture. And from the beginning of the year until September, we always had our raised bed filled with the crops for the menu. Now there are some plants that we had to cultivate in a greenhouse and just to put them back in a further stadium of development, just to have the waste bed filled. So we cheated a bit because we had workshops throughout the whole year, and we wanted to have always something to show for. Then we had workshops at these raised gardens. There were around 12 to 14 workshops with always around 15 to 20 people. And we always started just to visit these buffet beds and to talk a bit about the project. And then people could just look at these different buffet beds, and we would discuss a bit about what they would see. Then we would go on and have small games to just get a bit deeper into the subjects of the global fields. And therefore, we used materials from the Weltacker to go. That's the mobile global fields. And we acquired these games and also the information material with it. And we used 2 of these games to just show easily what's the project about and how we can understand these buffet beds better. And after these games, we then went to a small room where we always cooked one of the meals. Most often we did the muesli because it's the easiest way to cook something in a workshop that only lasts for 1 hour and a half. But we also did one soup, and we harvested the wild fruits and vegetables from the waste beds. So it was quite interesting and a very, very easy way to get the project Global Field, which is a project that's always fixed on one plot in one corner of a city, out for people in the bigger city, for example, and it's an easy way to get the project idea out there. And these are the 3 games that we used out of the Weltacker to go. That's once the 5.5 square meter plane, the buffet beds where the members of the workshop could try themselves to build one waste beds out of one menu, and also the example of how much agricultural surface is actually there on the world. So these are the 3 games that went quite easily with this buffet bed idea, and the feedback of this exposition is very, very positive. For us, it is even the motivation for new funding that we are trying to get for next year. So we try to keep our field here next to my workplace, but we also want to create 4 to 5 buffet beds around in Luxembourg to get it closer to schools, to administrations, and so on. So that's our new project. It's really based on buffet beds to get the idea of the global field out there. So as promised, it was a fast and easy presentation, but it was really just to show in real life how this buffet bed idea can really, really go on and be successful.
I'm an environmental educator and project coordinator here at Weltacker Berlin. and I do mainly work on soil and soil biodiversity. I always include, of course, the concept of Weltacker, the concept that you heard from Benny earlier, and then I dive underground and try to inspire and awake the enthusiasm of soil in the people. And I'd like to just present what different formats, what different tools or games I developed or use with you today. But before I go into the formats or tools, I would like to share a quote with you, which inspires me and motivates me or with my work, from Fabrice de Klerk. He's Chief Science Officer at EAT, the EAT Lancet Commission we heard earlier, who developed the planetary boundary concept. And he said, he said, we are convinced that mobilizing the community is at the heart of the change we want to initiate, supported by the scientific I can't see it, what does it say? By the scientific solutions of the EAT Lancet Commission. So yes, that's something that he said this October after the new planetary boundary report was published, which also Saya mentioned, and Benny, I think, too. So yes, the agriculture is a problem in terms of the planetary boundary, but then it can also be a solution. And soil is a main part of the solution, which I try to inspire, to make people sensible about that. So my education is mainly focused, or most of my soil education are 2-hour global field tours on soil and soil biodiversity, where, as I said, where I introduce school classes, young people, adult groups into the concept of global field, and then dive with them into below ground. And you can hear and see later in my presentation what I do when I dive below ground. I also developed an experimental 2-day workshop series on soil biodiversity. So not just the 2 hours, but also so I have a group for 2 days, not in a row, but the first part, and then after around 2 months, the second part. Because as you see here in one picture, it includes experiments, soil decomposition experiments. For example, up there you see underpants which are put into the soil and left for around 2 months, and then you can take them up again, and you can see the work of the soil biodiversity on them. So this work is mainly with school classes, where I also actually today I had a workshop with school classes with a school class here in Berlin. So the right picture is actually very, very new. Where we started a pot experiment also 2 months ago, inoculating bean seeds with rhizobial bacteria who will help the plant to acquire nitrogen through the air. So yeah, it's exciting to do experiments with pupils. So I move on. in my work, I do simple soil education for smaller kids, but also more complex soil education for older kids or young people and adults. So this is painting with soil pigments and colors is one way to inspire young or very small kids, but also school kids for soil. And you can see in the pictures that I put photographs of soil organisms in front of them, and they just start drawing, painting beautiful things. Then a more complex way of introducing soil and soil biodiversity to people is soil microscopy. I use it whenever I'm out with my work. I bike around whole Berlin sometimes with my microscope in my bike bag, and because it just people are excited to look through a microscope, and it's a great way to show people also that the soil is alive. It's not something dead. It's alive. So we zoom in with the microscope, and when you zoom in more and more, at one point everything is moving, because then you can really see the small parts of the soil, the small bacteria, the microbiome, which really is very important for the soil, for the plant, for our health. Yes, at the Global Field in Berlin, we also have this great education trail of soil profiles, which really show the diversity of soils we have on our planet. And yeah, people can also read on their own, as you see, but we also take them to those to this trail throughout our tours. Then I developed interactive play on teeming soil organisms. So where people they take the role of a soil organisms, or they become a soil organisms. As you see, participants have photographs of soil organisms on their back, and they don't know which soil organisms they are from the start. They need to find out through asking questions. Am I round? Do I have 6 legs? Am I green? So with those questions, they need to find out which soil organism they are, or maybe how they look like. On the right picture, you can see after some time, I put out copies of the soil, of the photographs. So the goal is that they recognize themselves afterwards. And then everybody presents, so we have really a diversity of soil organisms, and we also work on finding out what function the different soil organisms have. So connect the soil organisms with the agriculture, with the nutrition. Yes, and actually this game I played with Kita kids, school kids, young people, and adults. It works really for all ages. Then I also developed a theater on the natural process of leguminous nitrogen fixation, which is a very complex process that goes on in the soil and in connection with the plants, with the leguminous plants. And in this way, I try to introduce this quite important process, at least in organic agriculture. to kids, to families, as you see in the picture. It's a great way to show people all ages, the importance of this natural process. And then I continue with one very successful way of teaching that the soil is alive. Last year, we got the opportunity to buy a soil microphone. You can place a very thin rod into the soil, around 15 centimeters into the soil, and it records the movement and the communication of the soil organisms. And people are fascinated about this way of connecting with the below ground. It has been really successful. It's of course some investment that you have to do in the beginning, but it really pays off to catch the interest. And from that interest, you can really start nice conversations with people all ages again. Yeah. Then I have another example how you can show below ground through root windows. This root window is from this year. You can see we have soy plants growing in them, and you can even see very nice root nodules that grew on the soy plants. And these nodules, they are the house. The house for the rhizobial bacteria. This bacteria, they can fix nitrogen from the air and pass it on to the plant, to the soy plant. You can hear I'm very excited about rhizobial bacteria and leguminous plants. It's in many of my formats, my education formats. Then we had the opportunity to build or develop a great below ground research tent, which you see in the pictures. We called it wormhole, where people can dive when they enter the tent. They can dive underground and explore soil with many of our senses. And this is a way how, if you connect art and science, it can really help to catch interest from people, to make people remember you, to get people inspired. Yeah, we do, as you see, we do microscopy in there. We have a soil microphone in there, and we do the soil pigment color painting in there. And the good thing is that we can really travel to different events. So we also have it on our global fields for different events, but we can travel to different events. And in December, I will actually travel with the wormhole to different schools, to 2 different schools. I'm excited, about that. So, and another way of doing soil education through connecting art and science is this project, Edafonistas, where I work together with a sound artist. We invite people to become a soil organism and develop stories from the soil. Stories that connect us human beings with soil organisms, stories that they think are important for them, for the planet. They can be very free stories. The goal in the end is that we record the stories that they develop throughout the workshop series, and that the participants they lend their voice to the soil organisms, because they cannot speak with us. They cannot tell us human beings, we are important, please look after me. But through this way, we try to put focus on the soil organisms and with the connection with the sound artist and the recording. We try to make it interesting for people who would otherwise never come to our place. Yes. Yeah, then thank you for your attention.